is interesting. I was playing around with the BIOS on the Radxa X2L, and it turns out that by default the CPU is capped at 8 watts. 8 watts, that's nothing. That is absolutely ridiculous. Anyways, I changed it to 15 watts since I have an active cooler, and I also used a different PSU which provides, I think it provides up to 30 watts. But yeah, so I sort of changed the power profile in the BIOS, and suddenly we're getting at least 10 to 20%. I would say 20%. This is a speed bump on this. I wasn't expecting that. Now it's still not enough to run, PlayStation 2 or something like that. That is simply not possible. But it does mean that you can have a little bit of upscaling, more upscaling, for example, on things like PlayStation Portable, for example. So it's actually doing a lot better than the first time I sort of gave it a go here. You can still see that it's a little bit of a wobble, so to speak, when you can see that it's refreshing the display sometimes. But still, I mean, you can't really expect to get maximum performance on a cheap device like this. It's $40 for a PC. So despite all its issues with the BIOS and all of that, if you manage to sort of tune it correctly and you give it the power that it needs to go into performance mode, you have active cooling and so on, then I would say that this is absolutely a bargain for running emulators all the way up to PlayStation 2. So PlayStation 2 is out of reach, but everything else beneath that, like Sega Saturn, all of those consoles, is going to work just fine. And the same also with like Amiga emulation and stuff like that. It's going to run like the wind. It's actually pretty good to run Windows on as well. I ran Windows 10 on this, and it turned out to work just fine. Give it a proper PSU. This is the official Radxa PSU. Give it a proper PSU and enough power. Go into the BIOS and change the CPU setting and power management there. So it's set to 8 or 6 or something like that. I think it was set to 8. Kind of odd that they would set it so low out of the factory when it can actually produce better performance with a little bit of a bump. Anyways, that's good news. Cheers.